Now, the diplomatic efforts to de-escalate the tensions between the United States and Iran are entering into a critical phase, with multiple back-channel negotiations that are underway to secure a temporary ceasefire. Now, according to the latest Axios report, the United States, Iran and a group of regional mediators are currently discussing the terms of a potential 45-day ceasefire that could eventually lead to the permanent end of this war. Sources from the American and the Israelis and the region have said that the likelihood of reaching even a partial agreement within the next 48 hours remains pretty low. Because remember, all of these are proposals that the Americans are floating. Now, this, remember, is being seen as some kind of a last-ditch diplomatic effort to prevent a very dramatic escalation, one that could include some massive American attacks on Iranian civilian infrastructure, which the Americans have been carrying out from day one of this war. But the Americans have said that they want to target Iran's energy facilities and desalination facilities. And the Iranians have said that if this were to happen, then they will hit back hard at the energy facilities and the desalination facilities of Israel and the Gulf nations that host American military bases. The urgency is being driven by Donald Trump's deadline to Iran. The deadline, initially set to expire on Monday evening, has now been extended by another 24 hours, with a new cutoff for Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, America. Now, Donald Trump has said that the United States is what he describes as deep negotiations with Iran, and has expressed that there is a good chance that a deal could be reached before the deadline. At the same time, he's also warned of some sweeping military attacks by the Americans if the talks were to fail. Negotiations are taking place through Pakistani, Egyptian and Turkish mediators, along with some direct message exchanges between the U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff and Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Abbas Araghchi has made it clear, though, exchange of messages does not mean negotiations. The Americans are sending messages for which the Iranians have said that their proposals are simply not good enough to merit a negotiation. At the center of the talks are certain key confidence-building measures, including the Strait of Hormuz and the control of Strait of Hormuz, Iran's stockpile of 60% enriched uranium, and these remain Iran's key bargaining chips in the negotiations. And sources also indicate that Iran is simply not willing to give up its control of the Strait of Hormuz, nor give up its sovereign right to enrich uranium in exchange for a 45-day ceasefire, which Iranians say is quite meaningless. And now the mediators are trying to explore whether partial steps on both fronts can be agreed upon in the initial phase. Panel discussions are also being focused on assurances that the United States could provide to guarantee that any ceasefire will not be temporary and that hostilities will not resume. And the Iranian officials have also conveyed concerns about entering into an agreement that could resemble the situation that was seen in Gaza or Lebanon, where the ceasefire exists on paper. The Americans and the Israelis say, you ceasefire, but we continue to fire, which is what has happened in the Gaza Strip and in Lebanon. Now, despite the diplomatic push, Iran's public position is very firm. It has given no indication of any immediate concessions. In a strong statement, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps' Navy has said that the situation in Iran in the Strait of Hormuz is not going to return to the pre-war status, especially for the United States and Israel. So as the deadline approaches, the situation remains on the edge, with diplomacy and escalation hanging by a delicate balance.